So today is Valentine's Day, right? Well, today's the day to express your love for that which is most important in your life. What's that? Dhamma. Dhamma is my Valentine. Please, Buddha, will you be my Valentine? I love the Buddha. I love the Dhamma. I love the Sangha. A day dedicated to love, you say, huh? What is love really? Some people love KFC. A lot of people love KFC. It's like it, right? Is that true love? Some people love because it's like a bargain. I'll love you, but you have to love me back. You stop loving me back, I stop loving you. Right? It's a deal. Yeah. Okay, we enter into this deal, unofficial contract. Or sometimes it's a deal like, I'll love you, but you have to give me security. Economic security, right? Got to have enough money. You've got some economic security, or just security that you're not going to leave me, right? Like something that makes me feel more secure. So if people don't feel secure within their own hearts, then they look for security outside. How do people look for security outside? Sometimes with money. Well, almost always with money. Look for some kind of security. Money can represent not just gratification of desires, but sense of security. Like, oh, get $50,000 in the bank. I feel secure. But is that really secure? Does that really offer much security? On a limited basis, on a limited worldly basis, it offers some security, but it's very limited. And some people love money. They love money more than people. So it's their true Valentine. But other people, they may not easily differentiate between caring for another person and wanting security, wanting appreciation, wanting someone to give praise. It feels good, If someone else loves us, it feels good, right? It feels nice. It reinforces a positive sense of, this is pleasant, or I'm okay, or helps you feel more secure, or can bolster our sense of self-esteem, right? So those are all more slightly selfish reasons that people engage in loving romantic relationships. Right? It's a bit of a bargain of, yeah, I'll love you, but what do I get out of it? Right? I have to get something out of it, otherwise, deal's off. Right? I mean, of course, there's the physical side of it, but for it to really be a lasting relationship, it has to be something, usually based on something more long-lasting than that. So even having a good friend in life, right? Then that's a little bit better than simply being involved in a relationship because that offers security or positive feedback or affirming, self-affirming, right? Just having a good friend in life. That's fair enough. That is, we all, human beings do need connections with other human beings. Even if it's a Dhamma connection, right? Even people who are devoted to solitude practice, people like Lumpo Man, in the end, he still had very strong relationships with his disciples. Right? It really helped a lot of people. So there's always a relationship. We're always in a relationship with other people in some way. So then how can we be in a relationship so that it's really beneficial for everybody involved? Maximize the benefit and reduce the drawbacks. Where there's strong attachment, especially strong emotional attachment, then we set ourselves up for disappointment. It's inevitable. And it's very hard to be involved in relationships with other people without some attachment forming. Right? So you just have to take that in stride as part of the process and realize that, yeah, this could end at any time. It's inherently insecure. In a relationship with somebody else, it will come to an end at some point. Maybe I die first, maybe they die first. Who knows who dies first? Or maybe the other person just says, sayonara. Or maybe, we don't know. It's just unpredictable. People change. People are unreliable. So you have to go into relationships with being realistic. A realistic approach to relationships is not necessarily what most teenagers do. Delusion can be so powerful that it just sweeps over people. You just get carried away with, oh, I'm so in love. Oh, be happy forever. And then, how long does that last? Right? And you go through cycles. You start to see cycles of, oh, yes, there is a period of desire, gratification, worldly bliss, taking it for granted, becoming bored, desiring fresh, starting all over again. You realize, oh, this is samsara. That's the essence of samsara, isn't it? All right? Can be within one lifetime, can be within multiple lifetimes. So that is the petrol that keeps samsara going. Okay, at least be realistic about it. You go out to have your Valentine's Day dinner, nice romantic restaurant, candlelight, glasses of non-alcoholic wine, and so, oh my dear love, I realize my attachment to you is a cause for suffering and dukkha and is fueling my longevity in samsara, but I cannot help myself. At least that'd be more realistic. Yeah? More realistic. Dear Valentine, or should I say, dear dukkha. Dear Valentine, I realize that by loving you, I'm only setting myself up for disappointment in the future. Signed. What? You should just call all of your partners, just go home and call them Rahula. Rahula is like the name of the Buddha gave his son when he was born. It's like emotional bowing. It's like sometimes people think the Buddha was a deadbeat dad. I said no. At that time it was considered like the most difficult thing to do. When a child is born, when your child is born, there can be such strong sense of unexpected, unconditional love. Just feel strong. Even a Kiwi man told me, once. He couldn't believe it. As soon as his son was born, he was like, felt this unexpected sense of, I would do anything for this being, this little baby. I would do anything for them. Never had ever felt that with any other person. So it was very powerful, that connection. Of course, there's attachment involved, right? You can't just ignore the attachment that is there in human relationships. But that's also the petrol that keeps us going around and around. So that's also part of it. And that's why I imagine it was a very difficult choice for the Buddha to leave his newborn child. So then question arises, well, can you actually love another human being without the drawbacks, right? So the benefits, there are obvious benefits. A love doesn't necessarily have to be self-centered or selfish, but there's always, as long as there's attachment, there's always a little bit of if this other person radically changes, then I'm not going to love them anymore. Fair enough, right? So there's always a little bit of selfishness there. But the degree that we can reduce our selfishness and really start to gradually transform that into, how can I care about this other person, right? Is this other person like a friend, companion, someone I care about? And then gradually purify that emotion. But still, it's going to have some drawbacks. People who've been married for decades, happily married, more or less, for decades, they say that's about as good as it gets when it comes to marriage. And yet, someone's going to die first, and then they're going to feel, a sense of pretty deep grieving, pretty deep loss. So that's the drawback. So is it possible to love without drawbacks? Only the benefits, but none of the drawbacks. Is it possible to do that? Well, then you're getting closer and closer to unconditional love, or metta. If you take metta, or loving kindness, caring about the welfare of another being to its extreme, then it's unconditional. So then it doesn't really matter if the other person is giving us anything in return. Are we getting anything in return? Do we even like the person? Do they like us? Right? It becomes less and less important until it's absolutely unconditional. So whether we like somebody or we don't like somebody, we still wish them well and care for them, and they deserve respect as a human being. So that's how people can really learn to live in harmony. You get human beings of any type of relationship, whether it's a community or family or partners, then if everybody's practicing the Dhamma, then everyone's trying to take their self-interest out of the picture. And then that gradually allows things to flow more easily and freely and less friction, and it's easier to be in harmony with other people. We realize that, I don't have to try to control what anybody else does, right? You can offer suggestions, but basically other people are out of our control, and so then if we don't realize that, then we suffer a lot. We try to control somebody else, and they don't follow we know what's right, they're not following what's right, then we end up suffering. Yeah, so that's when our self gets involved and makes a mess of it. But other people can sometimes be full of weird habits and quirks and strange personality, but somehow it doesn't bother us. And we realize, oh, okay, I just accept them the way they are. And then it's not so difficult to live in harmony with other people. So we gradually try to extend that. Yeah? In the beginning, you can have metta for the people that we like, right? The people that we already like and respect. No, it's a lot easier. But even the people who we really like, you live with them long enough, and they start to become irritating. So even with our favorite people, we'll still have to learn how to expand our boundary of loving kindness. So I include them when they're funny and charming and kind and thoughtful, but when they're not that, okay, and then kind of expand it further, and okay, I still have metta for them, and so that's how we gradually can experience this type of liberation that comes from the Brahma Viharas. So you can develop quite good samadhi if you're able to break through these boundaries, these perceptual walls that we create in our mind. I like this person, I don't like that person, right? All these different categories. This person is worthy of metta, this person not so much, right? All that does is separate our mind up into different categories and boundaries, and right? So you realize after a while this is actually dukkha for us, right? It's actually more pleasant to not have those boundaries. And you realize, oh, it's just my own perceptions that creates those boundaries. No other person is intrinsically lovable. No other person is intrinsically irritating. It's just how we perceive somebody else. And so then through wisdom, through understanding and experience, gradually these mental boundaries start to break down a bit and start to experience more of a general boundlessness of mind. Gradually the conditions that we place on other people begin to fall away. Conditions such as, I will love you if, right? So that's the condition. I will love you if you give me security. I will love you if you please me. I will love you, I will love you if you're beautiful, but, sorry. Too late for that now. Right? So, it's like all these conditions. I will love you if. I will love you if. So that's what we mean by conditioned love. Conditional. But if you start to take the sense of self-identification away from it, gradually it's more a sense of, yeah, I care for you. I wish you well. No matter what. No matter what mood you're in, no matter whether you're pleasant or unpleasant, whether I like you or don't like you, all right? Then you can still have respect and care for another human being. And then gradually you realize, okay, well, how much difference is there between your Valentine and people that we just live with, family members, community members, strangers? Basically, we can practice that evenness of loving kindness to everyone we come in contact with. So that way, you can make everyone into your Valentine. How many married people are here without their partners? Why? It's Valentine's Day. Aren't you supposed to be with your partner? Yeah.
Question. Any tips on letting go of emotion?
Any tips on letting go? It's like all I do. Yeah.
Just want to know how to, when you feel sadness or whatever, how do you begin to let go? Is it just being aware of the feeling? But then how do you work through that?
Yeah, many different levels, many different angles. You can work with it. Depends on how strong the emotion is, right? How strong the upset is, how strong the attachments are. So first step is always just to be clearly aware. What am I experiencing now? Right? Because sometimes people are upset and they don't even know they're upset. They're just blindly reacting. And so that's definitely not going to be very difficult to overcome it unless we really clearly see it. You know? So what am I experiencing now? Developing, that's why mindfulness, just mindfulness in the present moment to know clearly this is the emotional state I'm feeling right now. Sometimes that is enough that it will help it fall away because it's unpleasant. Being upset is unpleasant. So, I'm feeling upset. Doesn't feel nice. It's unpleasant. Not conducive to happiness. If we care for ourselves, why should we be upset? But if that doesn't work, which, usually if we're upset with another person, it's got deeper roots, and then it may take a few other ways of looking at it. So one very helpful way is you bring your attention into your body. It's like if we're upset, we usually tend to hold tension in certain parts of our body. Right? Because the body and mind reflect each other. You can bring your awareness in your body and just check, am I holding tension shoulders or my solar plexus or jaw, where, and then just bring your attention to that part of your body, and that will help to just relax it, soothing, relax it, and breathe in a soothing way. If you're upset, just look at your breath. Sometimes it'll be holding our breath or just really tight. And so just bring our attention in our body will help to, okay, just take a deep breath. Don't kill them yet. Right? Just put the knife down. Right? So that's like the next step of just physically relaxing. That helps our mind to relax a little bit. Sometimes, when you're feeling upset in the heat of the moment, it may be too late to feel genuine metta. Right? You say, oh yeah, may this person be happy. Yeah, right. I don't really feel that. Right? That's why it's a good time to practice metta is when you're not upset. It's like training, exercise for these daily life incidences when actually we feel upset, and then we're relying on the development of past development of loving kindness and patience and whatnot. Right? Now, certainly being patient is always helpful. Right? And it's not just like gritting your teeth and bearing it, but just breathing, being aware of what you're feeling, totally being aware. Feeling upset, I accept it, but I'm not going to react. I'm not going to blindly react. I'm determined not to say or do anything that would be unwholesome karma. Then, so then you can start to use your wisdom as well. Patient, I see this, I feel this. You think, if I just try to change the other person, it's not an effective way to approach a situation. But what am I holding on to right now? What am I attaching to, what am I wishing for that I'm not getting, right? If we're upset about anything, then there's always something that we want and we're not getting it. So what is it exactly, right? It's complicated when people are involved and emotions are involved, and we don't always see clearly because of our emotions. Whenever we're upset, by the very nature of that emotion, it stops us from seeing clearly. But to whatever degree that we can, then we say, okay, well, what is it that I want that I'm not getting? And then say, well, I want that person to be different. No, that's not exactly it. And say, yes, okay, fair enough, but why do you want that person to be different? Oh, because I want, and ultimately, if you look closely enough, it always comes back to, I want them to agree with me, or I want them to do what I want them to do, or I want them to respect me, I want them to appreciate me, there's always something that we want that we're not getting, but what is it exactly? If we can pinpoint that, that helps a lot. You see, at least we know the situation, clearly know, oh yeah, I want to be cared for and respected, and I'm not getting that. So, okay, at least we've, isolated the issue. So I want to be cared for and respected, and I'm not getting it. Okay? And I deserve to, then the other thoughts come in and make it complicated. I deserve, because of this. Just cut through that. Just try to go to the essence. I want this, and I'm not getting it. Okay, at least that's clear. So then you have the choice. You can continue to want it and suffer, or you can give up the. You say, well, wanting this is leading to my own suffering. If I care about myself, then it's smart just to let it go. But you can't just force yourself to let go. You have to see a situation clearly, understand it, and then you realize, yeah, for my own happiness, I just let go. And then at least you can experience peace of mind. And then, then you can choose whether to make changes externally or not, right? Sometimes we just change our own mind, change our perceptions, change how we see the situation. That solves the problem. Other times, okay, we're at peace, and then we see that, oh yeah, some external things do need to change as well. But either way, you want to be able to approach it with calm mind, as calm as possible. And say, I wanted roses on Valentine's Day. My partner didn't even remember it was Valentine's Day. What a lousy partner. So fine, buy yourself roses. Be independent. All right, any more Valentine's questions?
Where did the idea of Valentine's Day come from, Ajahn?
No, I was just curious. Yeah, what's that?
Where did the idea of Valentine's Day come from? Where was
Delusion. Delusion. It's just born of delusion, passion, and desire. Yeah. All right. Very good for today. Thank you all for coming. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Chinese New Year. Happy Forest, Solitude, Jungle Practice Day. May you all be well.